anime. It's not something I talk about too often, mostly because this is most of the time supposed to be a gaming channel, and also because I don't really watch anime really. Like I'll watch Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball, Pokemon. Otherwise, that's really about it. Except last year, when I watched the entirety of Familiars of Zero and absolutely fucking loved it. I loved the series, dude. Familiar of Zero, absolutely incredible. But what if I told you that I had actually just finished watching a more recent anime from 6 years ago, in fact, from 2019. It was a short one, but it was a good one. It's one of those really it's one of those short 12 episode only series. Like Pop Team Epic. The dub for Familiar of Zero. Unfortunately, Super Sonico the animation. I watched that last year as well and fucking loved it. As I loved that show. But as you saw from the thumbnail and the title, I actually just finished watching Helpful Fox Senko. I love Senko. This show was phenomenal. Like it made me laugh like Familiar Zero did. It had its moments that was like, this is the best show ever. Holy shit. But it also had its sad moments in the last 2 episodes because that's when it comes to the last 2 episodes, it's gonna be sad. Because again, it's the end of the series, so of course it's going to be sad. But it also didn't have any action like Familiar of Zero did. Like Familiar of Zero had people to fucking die and all that. There was actual death, there was fighting, there was all kinds of shit. Senko didn't have any of that. But honestly, sometimes that's a good thing, because we can't always as much as I love Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, stuff like that. That those shows are full of action all the time, but they also have their sad moments, the moments where you're like, holy shit, that's the best show ever. It was full of everything. But Senko might actually be up there with Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 and Familiar of Zero as one of my favorite animes so far. Because while it didn't have any action, it was amazing for that. It's a short and sweet anime that, honestly, people recommended to me years ago, and I just never got around to watching it because, again, I don't really watch anime, really. Except, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Dragon Ball. But even then, it depends on the series. When it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, I love Duel Monsters. I've mentioned Duel Monsters, how much I love Duel Monsters many times on this channel. I fucking love Duel Monsters. It's not as great as Season 0, and Season 0 is my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! By far. Duel Monsters isn't far behind, though, of course. I tried watching GX. I couldn't get into GX. I'm not fucking attempting to watch 5Ds. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zaxel is pretty good. I actually do need to get back into watching that at some point, but I'm stuck in between like watching a lot of stuff right now, as well as, having to work on videos. Stay tuned for my new series for Master Duel that was actually in the works for quite a while at this point, but I do have an official title for it now. And in fact, I actually did record an intro for the series. Well, temporary intro. It's about 8 minutes long, though, unfortunately. So I'm hoping at some point I do shorten it, so it's like around like minute and a half, 2 minutes at most. Maybe a little over 2 minutes, but yeah, as of right now, it's 8 minutes. It's gonna be like that for a little bit, for like a little while, when I get to work on the series. But the temporary intro is in fact ready. I just have yet to actually start working on start getting footage for the videos. But I'm trying to juggle video making, streaming on Twitch, you know, having time to myself, all kinds of stuff all at the same time. So I never really get to watch much of anything. But watching Senko actually kind of hit differently. It hit differently than Familiar of Zero did. Not in a bad way. It hit differently in a good way. Because, in a way, I kind of felt like Nakano. Because, Nakano was always, like, tired, always stressed. Because he worked too much. Hardly had time to really do anything for himself. And that's why Senko was there. She was there to, help him get through all that. And whenever he came home, she was right there, ready to welcome him home. And I personally felt like Nakano throughout the series because, again, while I do love like making videos, streaming, and all that stuff, I love it. And on top of like all the other stuff I do, not just for myself, but other people as well, I love doing it. But as a result of doing it as often as I do, I really don't get the time to really like have time to myself and watch anything. And before you say, well, don't you play Strive often? Yeah, I play Strive, but that's really for videos and streaming anyway. So it's like I'm not really playing Strive on my own time because I want to. I'm doing it to make like videos and stream and all that. So I don't really like do much for myself really during the day. And it's also why I usually wake up at around noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. this is why I kind of felt a little connection between me and Nakano, in like a metaphorical sense. Like, I love what I do, but at the same time, like, I feel like I work myself to the bone to where I'm like constantly tired, and that's why like video uploads, at least at least before the past couple days, and live streaming has been like almost non-existent because I've just been too tired to really do much of anything. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. But Senko, as a series, I loved it beginning to end. There was never a single episode where I felt this show's not great. And usually when it comes to like a first episode, especially when it comes to a first episode, like you always get that feeling where, oh, this is kind of this isn't that great. I hope it picks up. Again, since this is a 12 episode anime, you don't really get the time to like hope things pick up. The first episode is the first episode. It sets out what it seeks to do, introducing Senko to Nakano. And basically, somewhat introducing the characters, which is only like really 5 like important characters in the show. Like there's a few like side characters every so often, but it's really only like 5 main characters. Like technically it's only like 2 main characters, that being Senko herself and Nakano, but there's also like 3 other supporting characters. But normally when it comes to a first episode, like you kind of think this is kind of boring, I hope it picks up. First episode knows what it wants to do, and it actually does pull it off quite well. It introduces Senko and Nakano, and so it's going to show off what dynamic they're basically going to have throughout the rest of the show, and it did great. It does great. Now it wasn't like I honestly, in that sense, it was better than Familiar of Zero, because with Familiar of Zero, like it started off boring like a couple episodes, like the first 2-3 episodes, and then after that it started like picking up and got really good. And then season 2 happened. Again, this is about a year since I've seen Familiar of Zero's second season. But I think I remember season 2, or it was either season 2 or season 3, that was my favorite season throughout the entire series out of all 4 seasons. It was they were fucking. I mean, again, the show, the Familiar Zero in its entirety was absolutely incredible. I loved it, even though I still kind of wish like they dubbed it past season 1. I wish they dubbed all 4 seasons, but unfortunately, it never happened. I doubt it will ever happen. But it took a bit of time for the Familiar Zero to pick up. Again, a few episodes. Senko is great all the way through. Like, it kept me hooked. Like, I've been watching this show for like the past 4 or 5 nights. I've been watching like 2 episodes per night. Except tonight. Tonight I started the night on episode 9, and then I watched episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12. But I did take a break between episodes 10 and 11. But then I got the urge. I'm like, oh, this show is so good. I wonder what's going to happen these last 2 episodes. So I stopped what I was doing, and I decided I'm finishing Senko. I'm finishing Senko tonight. I can't wait another like 24 hours. I'm finishing it tonight. And obviously I did, which is what led me to making this video. Like, I finished the final episode. I'm like, what a short but sweet show. I loved it all the way through. I'm like, you know what? I gotta make a video. One right now. 100%. I have to make a video. And here I am making a video about it. Now, again, the entire show was amazing all the way through. There was not a single bad episode. Now, when it comes to the characters, I mentioned there's 5 main characters. Senko herself, Nakano, Koenji, she was pretty cool. I liked her. Sora, and Shiro. I did not like Shiro. I found Shiro to be quite a fucking brat. Like, I'm not talking like the kind of brat where you enjoy them, like Anya from Spy X Family, which I've also been wanting to like continue watching as well. I'm also in the middle of watching that. Like, again, Anya is a brat. So was Louise, but they were brats like you actually liked. Louise, especially from Familiar of Zero, like, she was a fucking brat. Like, she treated Saito like shit. She treated her classmates like shit. I mean, they also technically treated her like shit too. So I mean, there's fine. But she also treated Saito like shit. Basically, the entire series, except like a few like specific episodes, namely the last like couple episodes of season 2 and the last few episodes of season 4, the final season. You know, the end of the show, the last few like 4 episodes of season 4, the final 4. Louise kind of treated Saito like shit, so she was a brat. But again, at the same time, you liked her, even though she was a brat, you liked her regardless. Shiro, I didn't like. Like, she was the kind of brat I just could not like. I did not like at all. Like, she was always butting Nakano and Senko's business, you know, taking the... Like, it was just, like... She was always so whiny. I'm like... Throughout the entire series, and whenever she was on screen, I'm like... Oh, no. Again, the show was great. I loved the show. But Shiro as a character, I didn't like at all. Sora, you didn't really see too much. Like, you saw glimpses of her here and there, and then you go into the episode where they go to the beach, and she played an important role in that episode. And then the next episode, which I'm pretty sure was season 9, not season 9, episode 9. You know, the one where they had the snow day for like the first half of the episode. And then Sora comes by, starts like hitting on Nakano, and then ends up warning him like, don't make Senko sad or like something bad might happen to you. Which was actually a key component for the last few episodes. Like, Senko didn't really have like an overarching plot like Familiar of Zero did. However, or even Sonico, the Super Sonico, the animation had an overarching plot, because it was basically, you're like, you know, Sonico managing her modeling career, her school life as a college student for marine biology, and also, like, you know, doing stuff with the band, Fury and Suzu, as well as, you know, helping out at her grandma's restaurant. Which the events of that entire show led up to the New Year's Eve concert for Sonico's band. Like, literally the entire series was leading up to that part, so Super Sonico had an overarching plot as well. just like Familiar Zero did. But Senko didn't really have that. Well, necessarily. I mean, it kind of did. Because again, it all basically led up to like the last episode. But, anyways, yeah. I like, at episode 9 is when, things started getting worrisome for how the series is gonna end. Like that warning from Sora had me like, oh god, no, don't do this. And be like, oh god, no. And then Nakano, and then in episode 11, Nakano gets a call from his mom saying, your dad's in the hospital. And so he goes to visit her and his dad. Because, again, he hasn't seen them in like a few years. Which meant Senko also had to go somewhere. She had to go to the other world with Sora and Shiro. And the reason she did that was because she was running low on like supplies for like dinner and stuff like that. Now, I also do need to mention, well, you should have expected spoilers at this point, but shit. So what the original plan was, before Nakano left, was Nakano had to take some time off of work because he had built too much paid leave. So his plan was, they do some cherry blossom viewing as, it was coming to springtime, and they wanted to see the cherry blossoms together. Senko and Nakano wanted to see the cherry blossoms together, and he also promised Senko to go to the supermarket from another town, but then Nakano got the call from his mom, so he had to leave, and Senko had to go to Sora and Shiro. And then in final episode 12, it started off with Nakano heading back home, to find that Senko wasn't there at all. So he went to go ask Koenji if Senko was there. She said she wasn't, and neither was Shiro. So Nakano just sat in his dark apartment, hoping that Senko was okay, until he remembered the warning Sora gave him a few episodes prior. Thinking that Senko leaving for good was the bad thing that was going to happen to him, so that he makes Senko upset. And, it kind of, let me be honest, it hit me hard. It hit me like the Familiar Zero did when Louise sent Saito back to Japan. Because she didn't want to see him get hurt or killed a second time. So Louise sent Saito back to Japan. And Saito came to think, no, I don't belong here. I belong with Louise. It's just not the same without Louise. And he kind of grew upset, heartbroken, everything when Louise sent him back to Japan. He wanted basically the entire series, but when he finally did get back to Japan, he was like, I don't belong here, not without Louise. He would have Saito would have rather died alongside with Louise, regardless of where he was, as long as he was with Louise at that point in the series. Because again, this was the last few episodes of Familiar of Zero. But he went back. He did end up going back, helping, saving Louise and all the others. Which, afterwards, he and Louise went back to Japan. A loving, married couple. And ended the series the best way it could have possibly ended. In the way everyone was hoping it would end. And it was a great ending. But, again, the first half of the final episode of for Senko kind of reminded me of that. Like, both Nakano and Senko were heartbroken because, again, they had spent so much time together, much like Saito and Louise did, that living without one another would not have been the same. And Senko knows that Nakano was going to die one day. But Senko was like, I don't care. I want to be there for him until that day comes. It might be selfish of me, but I just want to see him happy, regardless of what the outcome may be. And keep in mind, it was Sora telling Senko she couldn't go back to Nakano. So, Senko stood up to Sora. Which, spoiler alert, it was all part of Sora's plan. Like, she told Senko that she couldn't go back to see how close she really was with Nakano. Senko was willing to give up literally anything to be with Nakano. And that's exactly what Sora wanted. So she permitted Senko to go back to Nakano. And while they didn't exactly end up a happy married couple, they still ended up together in Nakano's apartment, really happy. And honestly, it was a really good ending. Like, it had me worried. Like, it had me heartbroken. Like, I felt the heartbreak when those two thought they could never see each other again. Like, again, at least with Saito and Louise at least said goodbye. Kind of. Well, at least Louise kind of said goodbye to Saito. Saito didn't really say anything because he was shocked that Louise didn't follow him. But yeah, they were worried they weren't going to say goodbye to each other. I was worried they were going to say goodbye to each other. But as it ended, they both ended up actually viewing the cherry blossoms together, and Koenji and Shiro joined them, and it honestly all ended the best way, and it was absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, do I recommend you watch Senko for yourself? Absolutely. This show, again, from episode 1, along with Familiar of Zero, even though Familiar of Zero took a few episodes for me to actually get hooked into it, it was still amazing. I recommend Familiar Zero, and I recommend Senko. Now, where do I rank Senko overall? I rank it up there along with Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. And Familiar Zero. I rank it up with those two. Because Senko, while there's zero action, it was a short and sweet series. It was amazing. Had great characters, except Shiro. But, and it was also, it was also somewhat relatable. So, I absolutely do recommend you watch Senko. It was an amazing series. I would absolutely watch it again. I might one day. But, yeah, this show kind of fucking hit me hard, man. It hit me hard. Like Familiar Zero did near the end. It hit me hard. Plus, it's like almost 4 in the morning right now. Hold on. Yeah, it's literally 3:54 in the morning, dude. So, not only am I, like, somewhat heartbroken because, I finished the show. And I'll never experience the show like it was my first time watching it ever again. But at the same time, I'm happy because I got to experience such a wonderful show. And I got to share with you all my experience I had with this show. But at the same time, I'm also like pretty tired. Because again, I watched like I watched episodes 9 and 10 for Senko, and then I worked on that intro for my new Master Duel series I'm going to be working on. And then after that, I took it easy for a little bit, and then I'm finishing Senko tonight. I did, and then I worked on this video, so yeah, I'm honestly pretty tired. But you know what? This video was actually worth it. I loved this show, man. I really did. It's a phenomenal show, and I absolutely do recommend it. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for hearing me ramble on about this like little niche anime that you're probably not going to care for or whatever, but what matters is I enjoyed it. At the end of the day, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed sharing my experience with all of you. That's what I, sought to accomplish. And I'm going to be honest, again, this is an unplanned video, so it's like, again, I finished the show, I'm like, I have to watch, I have to make a video. Like, I have to make a video of this. I don't care how late it is. I have to make a video talking about how much I loved this show. And here we are. And I'm honestly glad I did. But yeah, that's all for me. Thank you for hearing me ramble on. If you haven't watched Senko, I do recommend it. It's a phenomenal show. Watch Familiar Zero as well. That's also a phenomenal show. But yeah, that's all from me. Take care, and stay tuned for my new Master Duel series coming tomorrow.